Anish Giri will now play Magnus Carlsen at 10 years old in our Champions Challenge. And you just told me, Anish, you're a little nervous.
A little. I'm about to die here from the pressure and the anticipation of shame. The worst feeling is not shame. The worst feeling is the anticipation of shame.
And would it be devastating to you if you lost to Magnus 10? We know he's super tricky.
No, it wouldn't be devastating. But as I told you, right now I feel the worst because I feel it coming and it's not yet there. And I know it's coming for me. I just watched Jordan play, looking very bad for the mankind. Looking very bad for the mankind.
So what do you know about Magnus at 10 years old? How good was he as far as you know?
Yeah, he was good, I guess. I think he was one of the prodigies. He wasn't like exceptional compared to other prodigies like Nepomniachtchi, Karyakin. You had many, Joseph Polgar, for example, and so on. But Tim Bakro, you have a few of these prodigies, and he was really good at 10. But I think a real Magnus at 10 is someone who could still be handled by a good modern Grandmaster.
Yeah. And you're a few years younger than Magnus, born 4 years later than him. How old were you the first time you played Magnus?
It's a good question. The first time I played him, actually, it was the only game so far that I've beaten him in classical chess.
Really?
Yeah, I was 16 in Wijk and Zee A tournament in January. And yeah, that was our first very memorable encounter.
Very cool. Now, at 10 years old, who were you? What did you like to do at 10 years old?
Actually, 10 was quite a complicated period in terms of my chess because I spent some time in Japan between the age of 8 and 12. And when I was in Japan, it was very different because there was very little practice. And there were periods where I almost forgot about chess.
Really?
There were periods where I played online a lot. I think when I was 10, probably I was already back into chess heavily. And I played a lot online, really. That really kept me going. And I was really into this online chess.
So was chess at that point already at 10 sort of your main occupation, or did you have other interests and other things?
I had a lot of other interests, for sure, in Japan. I mean, I had a good friend, and we played a lot of sports, and we studied, and I had to also I had to study a lot because I had to study the Japanese stuff, but also try to keep up with my Russian studies because I was going back to Russia as well at the time. And it was a very different period in my life because now I live in Holland, and it's a different story altogether. But yeah, at the time, it was just a different life, and there was a lot of chess though. So
at 10 years old, how many languages were you able to speak actually?
Well, at the time, I didn't speak Dutch, obviously. That came later. My English was very weak.
Okay.
I don't think I could really speak English. It must have been Russian and Japanese, and I think I had already forgotten Nepali by that point. So probably I spoke Russian and Japanese. It's a weird combo. Well,
but impressive. And now you're about to play Magnus at 10 years old. So what's going to be your goal here? We know with only 2 minutes, it's hard to even win.
Yeah, I think the time pressure is the issue. If we played like you play on the when I used to play on the app, it was without time back in the day. And my favorite thing to do when it comes to playing this Magnus app back in the day, I did it on the plane a lot because you don't have internet. And then there's not much to do but to use these apps that don't need internet. And so my favorite thing to do was to find like a very young age that would be like that I could beat very nicely, you know. So I would put like Magnus 8 and then go for some weird attacks like go b3, bishop b2, then go somewhere g4, like Simon Williams, but then make it work. And you know, sometimes I would get so carried away that even like age 9 would still 8 would be a problem because I was like throwing and I was trying to find that ideal age, which is not too easy.
Creative ideas.
Yeah, exactly, which is not too easy, you know, which resists a bit, but like all his resistance is hopeless. So I was trying that age, and 10 is definitely not that. 10 is definitely too strong.
So will you go for something crazy, creative, weird now?
No. You have to kill the creativity at its core when you have just 2 minutes. So I'll try to play a scheme, sort of a setup that I can play quickly at first, and hopefully he will make some strategic mistakes, and maybe I will be able.
All right. Well, are you feeling ready?
Yeah.
All right. So Anish, he's going to have 2 minutes on the clock. The goal is for our Grandmasters to win against Magnus 10 in as few moves as possible. If they lose, the goal is to last as many moves as possible. And we're now ready to see Anish kill creativity. So go ahead, Anish, make your first move. And here we go. The Champions Challenge.
And Anish goes for the London system, so he's really employing a system where the pieces just have very natural squares. And, well, knight in the centre of the board, that's always a good idea.
Yeah, you recommended this to him earlier, Ivanka, so the blame's definitely on you if this one goes wrong. But it's looking good for Anish so far, very natural moves. Magnus doesn't really have a plan. Magnus being really slow so far.
Yeah, he's wasting time with his queen, you know, moving it in front of the king, moving it to the side, and
look at the focus on Anish's face as well. Look at that focus.
What's going through your head now, Anish?
Don't talk to me.
This is how much it means to him, right?
Yeah, this is prestigious, no doubt.
Good strategy so far, you know, advancing Harry the h-pawn as far up the board as possible. We like.
Okay, and all the pawns on dark squares. Anish now, okay, just moving his king, not castling. Don't think
why
that was a
didn't you
mouse
castle,
slip.
Anish?
Talk to me.
Okay, black castling now. It's really tense though. It's a bit blocked up the position, but anything can still happen.
And
Ooh, what is that from Magnus? What kind of world championship move is that with the rook? And okay, Anish getting his king to safety.
And now Magnus doing some very strange things, tucking his queen to the edge of the board.
Yeah, and wasting a lot of time with his queen. Anish is moving in for the kill here.
Okay, and then it starts playing well. It's always the same.
Okay, the queens are off. You got this, Anish.
And 1 minute and 30 seconds left on the clock. Is it possible, Anish, to checkmate Magnus in that time?
6, kind of a tactic.
Ooh, nice tactic there from Anish. So he's won 2 pieces for just a rook.
Oh, nice.
Still super tricky though.
Do you think Anish can win this in 1 minute and 25 seconds?
Okay, come on.
Well,
so annoying.
If you asked me 2 moves ago, Kai, I would have said yes. Now it's going to be very tricky.
Hey.
Okay, still looking decent for Anish, especially after that move, winning a pawn. But a lot of work to do. Rook endgame's notoriously difficult.
And how strong is Magnus 10 in this game?
he's playing very, very well here. You know, he's doing all the right things, and now he's going to go for the h-pawn, and the rook just moves.
Yeah, and now that White's h-pawn has dropped, 3 pawns versus 3 pawns should be a draw. Anish.
He's trying, he's advancing his king. After all, teamwork makes the dream work.
whatever.
And now Magnus just given a few checks before he captures the pawn. Nope, he's going to go for a draw.
Looks like we
more
might
moves,
head
the
for a
better.
draw. Okay, Anish doesn't want the
The
draw.
more moves, the better. And
Doesn't
still,
repeat moves.
more than 50 seconds left on the clock. Can you keep it going all the way until...
Until I lose on time.
Yeah.
No pressure, Anish. How's your endgame technique? Okay, pawn up. Still a dead draw. White's pawn not going anywhere, but some hope.
Yeah, it's actually the worst type of pawn to have in this particular endgame, because you can't really go wrong.
Easy to blockade.
Yep.
Anish trying his best though. This is a lot of moves.
This is going to be so many moves.
The point is to have as many moves as possible, regardless of the result, right?
Exactly.
Unless you win, then it's as few as possible. So I'm not sure you should worry about as few as possible here. This is, I reckon we're closing in on 100 at some point.
Wow.
And
New record.
well, Anish just simply moving his king around.
Yep, 30 seconds. Oh, what is Magnus doing?
Is Magnus blundering?
I think he might. Oh, this one's
It's still okay.
still
This is
okay,
not
but
easy,
playing
right?
with fire, Magnus there. Ooh, and
Wow.
what a
Oh, nice, nice,
Wow.
move. Stalemate or no stalemate, Anish? Up to you.
Stalemate,
If you take the rook, it's a draw.
nice. You gotta allow the creativity.
What a finish.
And
No, but
there
I
it is
was-
a draw.
I relaxed there after he missed the tactic. I had rook h4 maybe was the most precise. So knight d4. I sort of thought I'll take knight d4, but yeah, I saw rook c5, but somehow I somehow didn't expect him to play all the best moves, and the rook endgame actually. It's objectively should be a draw, I guess, but I was hoping he would make a mistake somewhere. It wasn't
Well,
easy.
it is a shocking result. We have a draw in the Champions Challenge. And if you press continue, Anish, let's see how many moves that was.
93 moves.
Oh, wow. A draw in 93 moves. How would you describe that, David? Are you impressed?
Impressed by Magnus? Anish, you tried your best.
Yeah.
I was
No, but that was,
decent. Yeah, I mean, I think I said knight takes d4. I think rook h4 looks very good. But yeah, got a bit relaxed there, I think.
Okay.
I thought I had him already.
Was the clock an issue there? Trying to play super fast?
Clock is always an issue,
Yeah.
of course. Clock, especially when you play these bullet type controls. Clock is always an issue. You could see with some of his moves how terrible he is. But for example, a move f6 he made, all the moves so far, they were really bad. And then he plays this move f6, which is very important.
Yeah.
and he made it. And then, you know, we got into an end game, and then again it becomes a little bit less easy. So he's like, I think the level is like sometimes there's a sequence of bad moves and a sequence of good moves. And yeah, this is, you know, how the 10-year-olds are.
Exactly. Now, you were super focused during the game, a little bit nervous before it started. A draw in 93 moves. How do you feel about it?
I think I'll be basically higher ranked. I'll be like the first guy under those who won.
Yeah.
So all the people who won will be ahead of me, and I'll be like the one under them.
Exactly.
But there are, I saw already some who lost. I heard David also, you know.
Oh, yes.
David is not without his own flaws.
I got crushed, I admit
David
it.
is not without his flaws. And yeah, okay, I guess it is fun to have a different result. I guess it's unlikely to have a draw with a Magnus 10.
Yeah.
But, you know, if anybody would do it, it'd probably have to be me.
And it's, of course, the most important is to beat Magnus in the Oslo Esports Cup. And that's still possible.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Thank you, Anish, and good job in our Champions Challenge.